This is Flowers on the Stage.
I feel like there's a lot of apocalyptic fodder going around in all sorts of ways from like Last of Us, whether it's like zombies or like, meteors or whatever. You know what I mean? It's usually like pretty bad. And I was like, what if it was good? Because like a lot of these ideas are like, oh, all the people, that maybe destroyed the earth, the elites or whatever, they're gonna go to the moon and live on in a bubble. And it's like, well, I don't want to do that. That sounds like garbage. I'd rather just like let them go and maybe we'll try to rebuild here. And like maybe by working in harmony with nature, it'll like come back. And so that's kind of the idea is like, the end of the title track in Penno Destructo, it's like we can do it better this time, and it's kind of like this excited, like let's rebuild without them, and maybe we can just like tap into something different. So
I love that. That is awesome. There's so much music that's either just like kind of party music or, if you're like me, you grew up with listening to the radio with rap where it's all about kind of, how cool something, it's cool they have like almost like the movie world cross over here into listening.
yeah, and there's parts, instrumentals that have like cinematic, strings, kind of synthy stuff on it, so it is very in that vibe. And it could, I mean, if we had infinite budget, we could totally make like a sick movie to go along with it. And if anyone is interested in investing in that, they could reach out to the Beans. But it's, yeah, and it's just trying to be fun with it, kind of back to more like 70s rock, that prog rock phase where like these dudes had infinite money to like sit in the studio and like write 10-minute songs and like all this shit. So it's fun in that way. And I love like classic rock and stuff. So it's been cool to like kind of bring more of that sound into the Beans. And then, we because we've been working so hard in the studio, we do have like a whole other album. So it's also cool knowing like this isn't it for us. We can like do something different, kind of like Unzipped, if anyone's familiar with that. It was pretty far
Yeah.
departure from like what we usually do. And it's cool to know that like there's something else. So if you're not into what's going on, we got more stuff coming down the pipeline, and just keeping it interesting for ourselves, as well as like hopefully our fans.
So this is an album we need to listen to like chronologically from the beginning to end.
Yeah, a full listen kind of things, flowing into each other with some intros and some outros and stuff like that, in the album. And the Beans in general can be like all over the place in the way that we try to do it all sometimes, or capture a lot of sounds that we're interested in. So it can be like, a funky one and then an acoustic bluegrass song and then like a electronic song kind of. So and that's like part of the beauty of the band, but it is really cool to, we're like, what if like, one album was kind of a similar listen all the way through. So that way if people really want to set and forget, it won't be like all of a sudden like a genre they might not be into or something. So it's kind of just like culmination of a lot of effort over last year, in the studio, writing and recording. This is the studio, by the way. We're in it. We do all
In
our
it.
tracking and stuff. Yeah, we do it right here at home now. I got microphones, I got gear. So that's been kind of a cool process, slice of life.
So February 22nd, are we playing the album
It's
straight through?
at the album release, we haven't decided yet. That would certainly be a really cool idea. We don't want to like shock people with all new material though at the same time. It might be cool to like play some of them and then play some classics too. I don't know. People, get in the comments, give me feedback. Do you want a whole set of brand new music? It's a really big show for us too, in the way that like this venue's huge. So I think there'll be a lot of, and it's through Live Nation and stuff. So I think there'll be a lot of like fresh Beans fans too. So, you know, everything's going to be new to them still. So I think usually our fans are down for whatever, as long as we crush and we throw a super sick dance party and stuff. You know,
No
everyone's usually
doubt. No
down.
doubt. So yeah, man. In other news, what have you been loving about, being an artist recently? What have been your favorite parts of your job of late?
Well, that's a good question, man. You know, I've been just kind of honing in on the day-to-day aspect of being a musician, you know, and taking in the joy of being able to pursue that with my full time at least right now. Um and then the execution of the show is always like paramount for me. It's been really fun recently with the local shows, makes it a lot easier to assemble like our team. So we've had our like light guy at the last shows, and obviously our sound guy Mike, and then like, you know, the full merch team and maybe some manager support or whatever. So it's just kind of cool when you have that whole squad around you. You know, when you go out on the road, it can be like a pared down version. It's really like draining or whatever. So it's cool to just get the crew together. And you know, we've all been at this so long. I think there's just some beauty to just getting everyone together and doing the thing these days, because it's rare. You know, lots of bands are falling apart, and ours could. And who knows what the future holds, man. It's so, you know, up in the air, and maybe now more than ever it seems like stuff is so like up in the air, or maybe that's just my energy right now. But just like, you know, cool to every time we're together is a blessing, and I just am happy to make music with the guys and executing the show. Yeah, and trying
So
to make the most of your days. You know, I think there's, with the music industry, there's days of big wins, and days of losses or whatever, and days of, or just dry spells of like, wow, we haven't, you know, heard, we're not getting these festival offers, and oh, Bonnaroo was announced today, we were not at Bonnaroo, you know. And like, does that affect my day? Does that affect my mental health, you know? Or and so that's kind of the stuff you learn as you've been in this game a long time, is how to just like keep the level as, you know, the plane as level as you can, you know. And you know, we got festival announces coming, and we just announced festivals, and like there's, you know, and other people's wins are your wins too. There's no competition here, and everyone's out there trying to chase the dream and do the thing. And so just try finding the beauty in that. And but that took growth, you know. I certainly, as you know, in years past I've been like, oh, and this isn't happening and whatever. And and like I said, it's just anytime it does come together, it's such a beautiful thing. I think that's just where you kind of rest your hat. And I've actually taken on a new role of manager for some bands recently, and that's been really fun, just like helping them out. And I'm just like, I believe so much in the jam scene, or whatever you want to call it, because it's become such a amorphous blob at this point of different types of music, you know. um but just love helping bands out, and it's been really fun being a part of like Squeaky Feet. If you've heard of them, they're a great band. And
yeah,
if people
yeah.
aren't familiar, get on the Squeaky Feet train now,
Congrats
because they're about to
for joining
blow.
them. Let's go.
Yeah, so that's been a joy too, is kind of like, because it's a whole different game. You know, I've been obviously managing and like band leadering the Beans and stuff, but I have so much personal stuff invested, like my songs and like all that. And I'm in the band too. And so it's been really unique, kind of removing that aspect, and really putting on my manager first hat and helping these guys with no vested interest of like performance on my end, and really just trying to make sure they make the right decisions for themselves and avoid some of the pitfalls maybe we avoided. And oh, don't rent that, or don't do this. And so it's just a joy, man. And watching them grow is will be great.
Are you like open to helping other bands?
You know, I only have so much time, but I'm open. You know, if there's bands out there that want to hit me up, I would certainly be all ears. And but that's part, I'm really committed to providing service to my bands, you know. And I'm not like other, we've fallen with managers that just want to add you to the roster, and collect your money. But I understand what it's like, if these guys are going to go out and grind for 4 weeks and they're going to send me a percentage of that check, I need to be able to provide service to them. And so I'm not going to bite off more than I can chew. So, but that's not to say I won't accept other bands. I just want to make sure I really am committed to it and not just doing stuff to make money.
For sure.
Don't miss the Magic Beans Impendo Destructo album release show, February 22nd in Denver, Colorado. Find tickets at magicbeansmusic.com. Now back to the episode.
Bringing this back to kind of like, your day to day as an artist and even as a manager too, like evaluating kind of at the end of the day on a day by day basis, what does success look like for you? Like, how do you define that for yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really good question, man. And I think it's one the band's been asking ourselves quite a bit in more recent years. And what does it mean to be successful? And there's obviously the financial aspect is one of the first things that comes up, but um there's pitfalls in that because it's hard to maintain your day-to-day workflow when you're not being compensated day to day. You know what I mean? So if you're really invested in the financial return, then I don't know how you're going to get up and do it 5 days a week because there's no gigs half the time. So for me, the success really does come from putting in the work. I feel like I've chosen this path and I'm committed to it. So the best I can do is just give it my effort and my all. And if it ever feels too much or unsuccessful, then I will remove myself from it. But I feel successful right now. I feel like I've already achieved what I dreamt of, and more so, I never thought we would ever be like the top of the bill. That's a crazy thought. I never thought we'd be like Madison Square Garden. It's cool to be out there doing it. I'm happy. I'm getting paid and a little bit. It's like the best part of my life, is the beans and this era. And if it ends and I move on to something else, I will look back on it fondly and I'll always have like that. I tell my kids I was in a rock and roll band, so that's success to me, man. I got to chase my dream, and some people aren't afforded that, even the chance to chase it, let alone get it. Like at least there's some people that chased it, didn't get it, but at least I know I tried. And then there's some people that just never got to try, and I just feel so lucky to be that person out there. And I think of those people when I'm out grinding. I'm like, I know a lot of people that would love to be playing guitar on stage tonight, so I better fucking have the most fun possible for everybody. And and that's my vibe.
Yeah, I love it. And, in another scenario, there's people who they achieve their a version of success. And then it comes back to kind of defining that again on a day-to-day basis.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe at one point someone wants to, be able to have a sold out show, right? And then they've
Yeah.
made it in their eyes, but then that has to get kind of redefined maybe. And yeah, I feel like no matter where you kind of put that line, um, I'm just so curious, like how people go about thinking about crossing it. Like, what happens if you do? Then what? You
No,
know
I
what I
mean, it's
mean?
interesting. I can't speak to it because I'm like, as much as we've had huge wins, I feel like we're still kind of grinding. I've never like, not to name a band, but I bet we haven't had like our goose thing or whatever, like where literally all your dreams I feel like come true. And then it's like, I wonder what goes through those guys' minds. Like, how do you redefine, getting your worth from it if you've already got it all? Or seemingly, I'm sure they all have their issues and all that stuff. I'm not trying to, and there's tons of bands like that. And I do wonder, and where do you derive your pleasure now? And what goals are there now for you to get? And and keep you happy. And hopefully it comes back to the music, and hopefully, you know, as much we all get caught up in like wearing our business hats, but like at the end of the day, hopefully you're not like a CEO. Hopefully you're a musician. So uh I feel like, yeah, if you ever get confused, listen to the music play kind of thing. Like that's kind of what I do whenever I feel overwhelmed with the beans. I'm like, I should probably just pick up my guitar and get back to the basics here, and that's where it all begins. And
Mm. Yeah, man. Music's as a concept purpose is not to fuel business. Um,
but it's so rough. I mean, if you choose that life, it's it's you can't just ignore the fact that now like you don't have a job unless music is working, you know, financially. So there's like that battle. And you know, I think that's what's, you know, some of the beauty of like it seems like a lot of people are finding a balance with like having it be half their thing, you know, or like there's a lot of Spotify music and I feel like bedroom music where people aren't even touring it. They kind of just like have an audience and like, but maybe they have a job at home. Maybe they're driving Uber. They work like as a chemist or who knows, you know, and I think that's kind of like beautiful too, you know, and almost might be more beautiful. I bet when they get into the studio, removing that aspect and being like, oh, we're trying to sell more tickets. We're trying to do this. And it probably turns out better. I don't know. You know what I mean? That was kind of our vibe with like this Impendo Destructo is like there's definitely no singles on we're not trying to do that jam band thing where we're like, do we sound like a real band? Are we crossing over, you know? And everyone tries it, you know, I feel like, or tries to like legitimize their sound, whatever that may be. And then there's like bands like King Gizzard and just doing their own thing and swinging dick, and it's just like that there's something to that, man, you know. And so just kind of removing the filters has been something we've been doing over here, and seeing what music comes out, and I ended up with this cool like concept album, and then another album hopefully after with like more kind of bean songs, lots of lyrics and stuff. So just having fun with it, man.
yeah, and there's infinite ways to do like music is so it exists in infinite ways. So you almost like a disservice to not be doing all kinds of different things in that way.
I agree. That's the artist in me, bro. And I'm like, you know, honestly think I'm more of like an artist than I am a musician, you know. I think there's definitely cats out there who are full on musicians that like can play circles around me but don't maybe bring the same artistic sensibility to what they're doing, or who knows. I mean, there's people that can do both and those are geniuses. But like I feel like that's definitely my vibe is I see music as an outlet for my art. Like I'm an artistic vibe dude. I like to like have concepts and ideas, and so music is how I kind of get that out. And so I feel like there's always hopefully something to what we're doing, and I'm not just fucking like phoning it in, because that's just like not what I'm about, you know. So yeah, for
That
sure.
happens in so many situations, like losing that original passion for why you were making something and just because you realize there's this kind of market fit sort of thing.
Hmm.
And not even just in music, like literally in anything. And
Hmm.
just kind of people get lost in the sauce. But I want to pivot away a little bit, you know.
Totally.
So you being a touring musician, like getting to see all the corners of the country, all different kinds of people, definitely, I'd be surprised if that didn't give you a unique perspective, different than most about culture and people. And do you feel like you have a unique perspective, different than maybe, other
Gosh,
people that don't travel the country?
I'm not gonna say I have a unique perspective. I definitely am like a white guy from the suburbs of the Midwest. So, well, people are really similar everywhere you go. I can't really tell what everyone's religion or like political lean is when I'm out there, you know. There's just like a lot of people, you know, and seems like everyone's just trying to get through the day, and everyone's just trying to like find some meaning, maybe some happiness in their day, you know. And I think that's like really the perspective I take, and how just how similar we are. There's so much noise and it's louder than ever that seem to like try to divide us and like put us into groups and now there's like new ones, the whole like generation buzz. Like I've never heard people talk about like people's generations more than in like the last three, like millennials this and Gen Z. I'm like, I've never heard. I feel like they're trying to, because we're figuring out like how to break down walls of hating. Oh, well, we don't hate gays and blacks anymore. They're like, well, let's come up with new ways to divide people. It's generations now. And it's like, no, I don't hate people from generations. Like, I don't hate the boomers. Like, well, everything's okay. Like, so there's always these narratives of just trying to like put us into different categories and people are very different. That's for sure. And people have way different perspectives but I think at the heart of it, everyone would like to get through their day without a hassle and kind of just like uh, feel good when they put their head down at the end. So just trying to bring that mentality and doing the little things. Honestly, if you're just going to be another passing face in the crowd, maybe just like having a smile on your face, and if you make eye contact with people, like give them a little bit, and that stuff can go a long way. You never know what people are going through, and it's funny, on the other side of it, as much as people are the same, it does open my eyes to how different everyone is in America too, regionally, and how, if you've ever traveled Europe or other places, there's like more segmentation. There's several countries existing within, the area of like Texas, you know what I mean? So it's like, it is crazy that we all try to work together. It makes like the American experiment that much more beautiful that we're able to have sustained it for so long. You know what I mean? Because it is like we are so different. It'd be like, it's a very European Union-esque where it's like a lot of different cultures working together. Like a person in Mississippi is doesn't have the same interests, or that the interests. It's really not cultural. It's they don't have the same worries as like a person in Oregon or something like that. There's different industries and all these different things, and it's just like, so it's crazy that we're able to even have a national conversation. Sometimes when I'm like watching it, I'm like, this is crazy, like, that we're able to do it. So but
Do you have any like have you are there any underrated parts of the country that you just love that you've
oh
stumbled
god.
across? Just like little nooks, not necessarily like LA or New York.
Oh, definitely. I guess I'll shout out Idaho. I'm sorry to everyone in Idaho for blowing your bubble because I know people like to keep it a secret up there, but Idaho is very nice. It's the freaking jam. There's good spots, Where else do we play that's unique? Definitely here in Colorado, Durango and kind of the Four Corners region is one of my favorite places. It's Farmington, New Mexico is where we play, and then Durango. And the Four Corners, for anyone who doesn't know, is where like the four square states meet. Like I think it's, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah. Correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, it's very southwesterny. It's got that vibe. There's like an energy to it. So I love going down there. Just good old folk down there, and they come up for music. We just, sold out some nights in Durango and stuff. So love going there.
How would you say that the time you've spent specifically performing on stages has kind of like changed you?
Hmm. Wow. Well, certainly made me better at like, talking to crowds, like just like getting over that stuff for sure.
I think public speaking is like was has been listed as like people's greatest fear in like surveys for real.
So that's like gone now for sure. I mean, I still have show anxiety for big shows, but I think it's helped me with that and kind of giving me a new appreciation for listening to music too and going to the show is just understanding the dynamic of what it's like on stage. I see the work put in on the personal aspect when people crush their lines in a lick that I'm like, that took time. You learned that took hours or days to learn that lick. And I think of the band's work, you see 12 people. I'm like, they probably got 12 people together on a Wednesday and rehearse. Like, that's hard. Like, people don't think of how logistically hard a bit. Like, try to get 10 of your friends together next week on a Wednesday, and it's not happening. So I think that's it. Just so that means everyone cares. Like, there's this effort. There's this like inherent like effort that comes into play, and it's made me just appreciate music so much. And when flubs happen, and when things other people might be like don't think is good, I'm like, that's just the magic of it, man. This is like a big old circus. So just cool to see musicians do their thing, and I think about their stories, and I'm like, I wonder if this guy is always does this, or if like he's working at Wells Fargo tomorrow and this is the best fucking night of his month. You know what I mean? And I love that for them. And I try to remind myself when I'm playing, like, you know, some guys that never gets to play and he gets a blues jam and he's having the best fucking time. And like, that's the energy, bro. That's the energy. So that's I think what stage has taught me.
Mm. What would you say is the best advice that you've actually followed that you've been given?
I don't know, man. It's good. I think it took a while, but the whole, like we were just talking about, do your music and do your journey. Don't do Trey's journey. Don't do Jerry's journey. Don't try to rehash Humphrey's journey. Don't like really like take that out of your mind, or don't try to match who's trending right now. Like, chances are they just did their thing. You know what I mean? And it's cool to have reference points. I think that's very musical. Everything is very absorbent, but like, yeah, man, just make sure it's true to you. Make sure you're absorbing it because you love it, and you're just like, oh, I can't wait to do that myself, and not have it be like I want to contrive this or market this and stuff. So, and I think like when you look back on your music and your releases, you'll be a lot more pleased. I won't name songs, but there are moments in early Beans things where I'm like, I remember when I wrote this and I was maybe trying to be like another band or try to like do something. And I was like, shouldn't do that. You should just do whatever.
Hell yeah. What would you say are your top three favorite Magic Bean songs?
Oh shit. That's real tough. I like Footprints in the Rain a lot. It's a bluegrass song that we play. It's probably the best song I've ever written to me. And it's like it's full like little messages for myself. That every time I sing, I get like really touch even me. So it's a song I feel really present in when I'm singing it. And then I'd say Elusive, another acoustic song. That's my vibe. I like the acoustic ones. That one also kind of just encapsulates a lot of my musical experience, I feel like, and it's kind of about being elusive. I'm out of contact. I'm not the best at responding to texts and all that sometimes because I'm out there like living this crazy dream on the road. But the people that I you know am elusive to are the reason I'm out doing it and trying to chase my dream, make them proud. People like my mom and my girlfriend and stuff like that. So that song's important to me. And then on a jammy, wanky level, I like the song "Getaway" because it has like a lot of different jams. It has like a harmonic minor jam, and it has like a major peaky jam, and then it has like a trance jam. So that's a good one.
Oh yeah. What would you say are some of the favorite lyrics you've ever written?
Oh. Yeah, I mean, I like Footprints in the Rain. That's like the one that really speaks to me. Like I was saying, here I go again, another symptom of fast living. Um, I've only got myself to blame. I think that's like, a lot of, taking ownership of your pitfalls and in the fast life that you live. And then you know, out here following footprints in the rain, wash away, kind of just like chasing a trail that's kind of like eroding in front of you, you know what I mean? So you're kind of just left out there, just like, whoa, where did the footprints go? Um, so you're making them. I don't know. So that's one of them. And then I always liked like off leash because it was just like really basic. That's the one that's this is the part where you feel good song. Um, and that kind of came from like poking fun at jam bands a little bit, where there's like that chorus and they're like everyone find yourself at this moment or whatever, and like it always like has like tries to maybe wax a little bit more poetic than like we're capable of in the jam band world. And I'm like, what if we just hit the chorus and we're like, this is the part where you feel good. So poking fun at we have
It
choruses like
works.
that too. And poking fun at myself, poking fun at everyone. I think that's a good way to live. Hopefully no one takes, offense to anything like that. If you feel
And
triggered, it's because you have a song like that.
so, and my last question for you, Scott, is who right now would you say inspires you most and why?
Oh, wow. Um, I'm very, very inspired by my dog. My dog Shade had 10 years. She passed.
My
And
condolences.
I'm still torn up over it. It's kind of luckily for me, one of the first experiences I've had with grief. I have a lot of my family around still and stuff. So but still has really affected me, and it's opened my heart. It's a huge amount. I feel like I used to understand, when people say you don't know what people are going through, and I'd be like, yeah, it can be hard sometimes. Feeling real grief like this is there's people out there just really going through it, probably or for sure worse stuff than that, and so Shade's been inspiring me in that way, like opening my heart to other people and not taking any day for granted and then relishing in the good moments when you have them and realizing anyone or anything could disappear at any moment. So you just got to really, like I'm thankful to be talking to you, bud. Like you're a good
Yeah,
person, man. I'm really happy we've connected. Like I really mean it, and I would love to connect in person in Denver. I'm sorry I've been elusive, but like been definitely going through it, and let's make a point to connect, and I value your friendship, man. And like yeah, so I'm just trying to like reconnect and hone in on what matters, dude.
I can relate so much, man. And dude, my heart goes out to you. Like a dog is like a brother or a child or something like that. And it's really no different. It's a family member, like, and that's man, there's no words about how that feels. And
Thanks for saying that, man. I appreciate you.
I'm glad you're being fueled by it. And yeah, dude, I'm around and I'll see you, at the show February 22nd,
Nice.
Summit Music Hall here in Denver. Any final words here for the fans out there that have listened this far?
um no, I love y'all. I appreciate you supporting the beans, or if you don't know much about us, dive in. And I really wish you the best this year. Find what makes you happy and invest your time in that, and go easy on each other. I think let's make it through this year. And if you'd like to support the beans, buy the Impendo Destructo vinyl and merch when it comes out. That's like we're gonna do these bundles and stuff. So literally there's like $100 bundle that you get like a shirt, vinyl, all this stuff, all this merch. And like if we had like 1,000 people buy that, that'd be like great for like the beans would be able to live on, you know what I mean? So like, or if there's another band you really love, like go buy a piece of merch and it'll probably help them out quite a bit.
Yeah, no, and once that's out, we're gonna update the description here with that bundle link. So
Cool.
if you're out there and you're lucky on your timing, hopefully there's still some of those bundles left.
Right on.
This is Flowers on the Stage, a podcast about being creative and finding success. To support it, please check out our sponsors, New Belgium Brewing and Thrax CBD.